Listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. And we're coming to you this morning. Congratulations to Arik Armstead, has been nominated once again for the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. Outstanding individual, outstanding player, came into the San Francisco 49ers 2017 with the 17th pick in the first round of the NFL draft. And he's just been a rock steady player, and he's been a plug for the 49ers, does a lot of things that won't show up on the stat sheet. But that's all going to change as we go into this year, and Arik Armstead is going to have a super year closing off the playoffs. He did have a little injury bug come up. We're going to get him some load management, let him rest. But the big news is Arik Armstead has been nominated once again for the Walter Payton Man of the Year for his outstanding dedication of community service and community work and community and education. This gentleman is a special young man. He's come from a family. If you want to know Arik Armstead, just take a look at Gus Armstead. Gus Armstead is his father. And I'll tell you, Gus Armstead, personally have communicated with Gus. He is just a first-class individual, believes in helping as many people as he can, and is just extremely humble, doesn't matter what day of the week. Now, the transition to that is Gus Armstead, Arik's father, works with NBA players, and he has trained hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, folks of NBA players, that he's able to get them in the league to allow them to be successful. As we know, Matt Barnes trained with him, DeMarcus Cousins trained with him, Ryan Anderson, going back in years, trained with him. I mean, there's just been a plethora of NBA players. If they're in town, they know to go to Gus Armstead. Now, what does that mean? He had two sons, Armand and Arik, and obviously Armand went on and played at USC, and he had some complications. But Arik came along, and Arik just was a diamond. I mean, he's been a diamond ever since he started middle school. And when he first came out, he was actually voted the #1 lineman in the entire United States. And UCLA offered him a scholarship when he was a freshman-sophomore year. So there was no doubt that Arik Armstead was going to be a tremendous talent. And he just didn't know which way he was going to go. He loved basketball. And he played basketball, played it very well, and was very successful out of Pleasant Grove High School in Sacramento, California. Then he went on to go to Oregon University, and he was a two-way player, two sports stars. So Dana Altman had plans for him on the Oregon University basketball team, and he also went in there and started right off the bat as a defensive lineman on the Oregon football team. Now, the difference between that is the success was so outstanding on the football that he was only able to play a couple of years for Dana Altman in the Oregon University men's basketball team because his focus and concentration after his sophomore year, participating in a minimal amount of games, but the focus and intent was too high. And the grade report had come in that he's going to be a first-round draft pick in the NFL. Now, obviously, none of that really moved Arik. As I've known him, I've seen him, I've talked with him. One thing I can tell you about Arik Armstead is nothing moves him. Nothing. When I say nothing moves him, he's just a straightforward, calm, humble. All the friends, all the associations that he's had in high school, he still has those friends, and he still has those associations. And you're talking about a special individual. And I'm looking and praying as Gus Armstead, his father, who is a man of God, and Arik Armstead, who's a man of God, to be able to win this award. And it's time, as God will give us the appointed time that he's going to win it, but he's going to still do the work whether or not he wins the award or not. And if folks, we're talking about the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. The individual I'm talking about is just a humble, special person, but he also gets on that football field, and folks, he can play. I mean, he digs out. He's been the staple on that line. To hear the players talk about him, to hear the players who have come in, the Bosa, talk about him, to hear how they talk about him in a way that they thank him for being the rock and the position point that they can all lean on. And that's what it's about with Arik Armstead. He's a staple. So what you see him do in the community, the camps, and everything he does, it's the same person. And the funny thing about it is, just like his father, Gus Armstead, sometimes I run into people who will do certain things for free. And if I had to look at it, and I looked at Gus Armstead over the years and all the players that he has helped, all the players that he has gotten into D1 universities, all the players he has helped getting overseas, all the players that he has helped get into the NBA. And when you look at a special type of individual like Gus Armstead, Arik's father, then you can see Arik Armstead, and you can see what type of person he is, because Gus Armstead has instilled that into him. And folks, I don't speak from analytics. I speak from the actual truth and experience, as I will always tell you. And I believe in kingdom principles. And when I see a young individual like Arik Armstead, who is coming up for the Man of the Year, Walter Payton Man of the Year award, it doesn't matter if he receives the award or not, because he's going to be the same individual. He's a first-class act. He's always been in there. He's always been humble. He's never discredited anyone on the team. He's never discredited the organization. And that comes from good family principle and teaching that the Armstead mother and father have given him. And that's why God has gifted him, and that's why he has been chosen. And folks, you'll hear me say this time and time and time again. When you are gifted and God chosen, you're going to move to the front of the line. And that's what happened with Arik Armstead. He's moved to the front of the line. He's continued to deal with adversity and injuries, but he continues to come back and get stronger and stronger and stronger. And for a young man to be 30 years old and accomplish what he has accomplished, not only on the field, because that's secondary for Arik Armstead. His accomplishments are off the field, and that's being a servant and doing God's work and building a community, empowering the community. And that is very, very important. And folks, I'll tell you, the San Francisco 49ers organization is an organization of excellence. And the individuals that they draft into the organization carry on that torch of excellence. And that's what Arik Armstead has done. And I'm here to tell you, I salute to Armstead. I've seen him grow up all the way through middle school. I've seen what he's done on and off the field. And this is an individual that stands for kingdom principles. And that's what his father believes in, kingdom principles, Gus Armstead, and his also older brother, Armand. And sometimes that's just how it works out. You get an older brother who doesn't quite make it, but he's going to make sure the younger brother makes it. And that's what Armand did for Arik. And that's what happened with Aaron Gordon. That's another story where Drew Gordon, the older brother, didn't make it, but he made sure the younger brother made it. Aaron Gordon, who's an NBA champion with the actual Denver Nuggets. And all these kids and all of us are in the same village and in the same community. So we all know each other. And I don't speak from a distance, I speak personally. And this is one fine quality young man. And I am so thankful to be in his presence. I'm very thankful to be in his father's presence. And I'm thankful to know that all things are possible to those who believe. You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast.